Coming up, we have Doug Greathouse, who's going to be joining us. He's the CEO of SalesSite, a digital marketing agency and SaaS company. So look out. We have an interesting program. Hope you hang out to enjoy it. Hello and welcome to Crush Your Mountain Personal Growth. And I want to tell you, I'm so happy this time to have with us a very important, a very special gentleman, with a name like Greathouse, got to live up. So Doug Greathouse is a successful, highly sought after, and respected digital marketing consultant. He specializes in helping coaches and consultants grow their business by attracting new customers, increasing current customer value, optimizing their web assets, improving sales conversions, and driving qualified traffic and leads. He is the CEO of SalesSite, his digital marketing company, and an SaaS company. He helps entrepreneurs ramp up their revenue and free up their time. He's based in Greenville, Spartanburg, and Anderson, South Carolina, that basic area. And he's an amazing person that deals with these different aspects of online marketing. He's the host of Entrepreneurial Journey. I had the privilege of starring on there for a short period of time, being interviewed by him, and I'm here to return the favor. You can find him on Spotify, Apple, and now on YouTube. He's got his own show there. And guess what? His motto is, anybody can be cool. Awesome, takes practice. Doug Greathouse, welcome to Crush Your Mountain.
Well, thank you for having me, Hank. It is a pleasure to be here. And it was a delight having you on the Entrepreneur Journey. So anyone that's watching this that hasn't checked that out yet, please check that out. Hank has delivered some great value on our podcast, so I'm ready to return the favor for him.
Well, thanks a lot, man. When we reached out, when we connected, what really struck me was your sharp but also very gentle presence, and it spoke to the type of individual that you were in terms of your spirituality and things like that. So I've got to ask you this: how did you begin your entrepreneurial journey?
Wow, I interview so many people and ask this very same question because that's the whole premise of the Entrepreneur Journey podcast. Pretty much, my entrepreneur journey. I'm going to do my best to sum it up, right? So I started around 12 years ago. It was me and I was working a full-time job, and my roommate had been working for a web design agency for about 3 or 4 months. And he comes in. Let me preface this, but I went to college computer information systems, but that was back when the internet was barely a thing. I don't even think MySpace was around at this time. So
that was a long time ago.
It was. So he comes in and says, we should start a web design firm. And I'm like, what? You realize my education that I have is not really as relevant as it should be today. And he's like, and I'm like, you've worked there for 3 or 4 months, right? Basically, I decided I could do this. We could do this. So I dove into my craft. I learned everything. I turned off my life. Luckily, I wasn't married at the time because I don't know if I could have done it then. I didn't have a social life. I turned all that off and just dove into my craft to learn. But what started at first as web design, right? And then we started build websites, starting to sell those websites. I would not want to sell that first website to anybody else again. It was not the best website there was, but it sold anyway. And actually, for some reason, it got referrals, and we started to build our business off of referrals. And then as we started to plug in ways to get people to come to the websites of the businesses that we were doing business with, we discovered how to turn on traffic and leads. And that's really what started to really excite me, my passion. I wasn't really into building the websites. I'm not much, I like cool graphics and all that sort of stuff, but I like results, right? It's the whole field of dreams thing. If you build it, they will come. No, that's not true with a website. You got to drive traffic and you got to drive leads. So when we started doing that and the businesses started to grow from what we were doing, that's what really excited me. There's been a lot of ups and downs in this journey. My best friend actually that I was with the company actually left, got married. I left the business to me to manage. So I've grown it from there. There's a lot to fill in the middle there. So let me touch on some of that. Okay. So at the very beginning, because I think it's important, right, to know not just the wins, but the struggles. So when we were first starting out, and right after I got married, my wife was on board with me being an entrepreneur, and I'd worked when we were growing the business, I was working a part-time job to grow the business. And when I decided to go full-time, so we only had one income. She was working too, but we've only had one. I was only had one income instead of two. And it took a while to take off, right? And we lived in a small apartment. I had a car, and going to be really vulnerable. Around that time, my car got repossessed. Wow. And I had to decide whether I was going to continue on this entrepreneur journey. And she stayed by my side, and we talked about it a lot. And I said, is it time for me just to go get a job? She knew that this was my passion, right? Is it time for me just go throw in the towel and go get a job? And we talk about faith, right? It was around the same time that I decided that I wasn't tithing appropriately. I wasn't giving God his money. Okay. It's all God's money. And I said, you know what? I have nothing left. I'm just gonna faith. God, I think God's trying to show me something here. So we started not only tithe what we should have, but above and beyond what we should have. And at that point, that's when things started to really take off for my business. God showed himself amazing. And the business has been growing ever since. So
that's an amazing point. I'm going to have to ask you this then. Why is entrepreneurship? Because I see your love and enthusiasm for it. Why is it so important and satisfying?
If I had stuck with web design, I have to say it might not have been so satisfying. Getting clients results is what's satisfying to me. I'm a giver. I love seeing other people succeed. I'm an encourager as well. So I love seeing other people succeed. And I don't know if anybody watches this follows Zig Ziglar or followed Zig Ziglar when he was around. He said, help enough other people succeed and you will succeed. I don't know if that's the correct exact paraphrase, but it's very close to what he said. Mm-hmm. So I adopted that motto in my brain at the very beginning because I want to help others succeed. I know my success will be a byproduct of that, but that's not my motivation. My motivation is to see their businesses succeed. So I guess the question was, why am I an entrepreneur? What do I love about it? That is what I love about it.
Yeah, I can hear that in your voice, see that in your face. You're jumping out of your skin just talking about it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, we talked about some of the obstacles. You said your car was repossessed. What other obstacles have you faced on this journey?
Also, it's a strain on relationships in the beginning. When you have to put in a lot, when you're early on entrepreneur and you're trying to figure things out and you have to put a lot of hours in to generate the same results like I would generate today, you have to put a lot more hours in on the beginning in order to make that kind of thing, in order to start growing, right? So, you have less time to spend with the family. And so that puts a little bit of strain on relationships, but my wife knew my passion, and luckily I have more time to spend with my family today, but it was kind of a struggle there at the beginning. So that's an obstacle. What other obstacles? That's pretty much it that I can think. There's probably been more, but the two main ones are mostly at the beginning there.
Yeah, and I know that then too, dealing with health issues and challenges like that can also pose a problem because you're taking care of a family. Is that true?
Yes. So I'm glad you brought up health, right? Because I'm I am 47 years old. I had to think about that for a second. uh, and I'm in better shape now than I was in my 30s, for sure. And it's because I made my health a priority, and that's also made a difference in my business. I am so much more productive in the hours I put in my business now because of my health is better than what I did in my 30s. So health gives me mental clarity, gives me the endurance, gives me the energy. So even at the end of my business day, I have the energy to still spend time with my family. To where a lot of times if your health's not right, by the time your business day ends, you're out of energy and you don't have a lot of time to do, like, not time, but you don't have a lot of energy to devote to your family. So
Tell us a little bit about the family then.
well, my wife, we've been married for 11 years.
Nice.
And I have a stepdaughter. She was 4, I think, when we got together. But yeah, I don't even, most of the time I don't call her my stepdaughter, I call her my daughter. The only time I'd probably call her my stepdaughter is when I'm around her dad.
Okay.
So, and she is a cross country runner. And she is a better athlete than I ever was in high school. She is super fast. We recently changed schools for her so she could get the type of coaching that's going to take her onto the collegiate level, which is where she wants to go. I am I can say very, very happily married man. Like I said, my wife stuck with me through the hard times, um, and she's had health battles herself. So I've stuck with her we've stuck with each other through all of our hard times. So.
Yeah, that's truly amazing to have that when you have that whole thing. You mentioned, interestingly, you mentioned earlier your relationship with God, right? Which I absolutely respect. And it's interesting when you think about it. Um, from the Old Testament on up, one can say that God dealt with entrepreneurs, so to speak. Abraham did business; it was a family business. Joseph, who was the foster father of Jesus, was a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
And he taught that business to Jesus, because when Jesus
Mm-hmm.
became to preach back to his hometown, they said, wait a minute, isn't that the carpenter? Right? So it's so remarkable. That said, how does being a man of faith guide your decision making and the direction that your company goes into?
That's a really good question. And first off, I got to start with integrity, right? Because if you're representing God, you have to be a man of integrity. And in business, you have to be that's just how it is. You have to have integrity. Because reputation should mean a lot to you if you're a Christian, because you don't want to defame God's name because of the practices that you do. So that's probably the key thing. Also, I don't know if this is really on topic, but the view of money is often construed when it comes to the Bible, right? So is it evil to make money? And I actually had this conversation with someone else earlier today. It's not. It's the motive that you have for getting that money. If it's just wealth and bling and all that, it probably is a little bit evil because it's all self-motivated, right? But if you're looking to expand God's kingdom, to show people what's possible if you have faith in God, and then you're willing to give of what you get, then money can be used for a lot of good things.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So.
it's interesting. Even the Bible says that in Ecclesiastes that money is a protection. You see, but it says wisdom is a protection first, but money, of course, is a protection. And then the Apostle Paul makes an interesting point. Just like he said, it's the love of money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between building wealth to take care of your family, or building money to take care of your family. Okay, and just want to make money for the sake of the greed.
Right.
Okay? And greed, unfortunately, is what is the underlying thing in society today. What motivates the economy essentially is greed. When you think about big business and what they do to mankind, you talk about health earlier, and unfortunately, people suffer as a result of the greed of a lot of corporations. But now, here's an interesting thing. You mentioned that that you had a little daughter there, but I've heard the name Greathouse come around so many times, and I gather there was one that was running for a public office. Is there any relation?
There is a Douglas Greathouse. We are not related, but oddly, I have a lot of family in Ohio, and he is in Ohio. Um, and we've had conversations several times, and I think it was funny because I think we even talked about when you Google him, he's a politician, yet I rank above him when someone searches Google.
Wow.
But he's a real nice guy. I'm not sure. I think he's on some kind of county government. I don't think he's like a state level or federal level politician. But yeah, there is someone named Doug Greathouse other than me.
Well, it seems that just having that name in itself lends to greatness, lends towards moving forward and expanding. So indeed, anyone can be cool. Also, but awesome does take practice, and it looks like you've had a lot of it because you're hitting that awesome level.
I'm practicing every day. And it's it's all just on social media. If I could just say this, on social media, it's all about showing up, right? But my ultimate goal is not to show it for me; it's to show it for God. Okay. So I in every relationship and every interaction that I create just from showing up on social media and growing my business, it's one more person that I can introduce to God. So that's one of the reasons I do what I do.
That said, I'll have to ask you the question I ask everyone, because I love to hear the answers and perspectives. What does it mean for you to crush your mountain?
Oh, to crush my mountain. So my mountain is to help as many entrepreneurs grow their business in my lifetime as I can. I need to put an exact number on that, but they say your goals should scare you. So I'm trying to think of the scariest number I can put on that mountain.
12 billion.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. I don't know if I could do 12 billion, but maybe I start with a certain level and then try and hit above that. But
I always said million with an M, not billion. So I kept this.
Oh, I thought you said billion. I could do a million. I could do a million, but it take varying the services that we have, and because I like to be a lot of one-on-one. Even though we're a done for you agency, I like to interact with my clients as much as possible, and that in order to scale I can't interact with a million people one-on-one. So I'd have to scale a little differently.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what. I think you're going to keep crushing it, man. I think you're going to keep moving forward. I really love your enthusiasm, your spirituality that you bring to your business, and the fact that you are there doing this for the family, looking after your young child who's growing up to be a young woman, the fastest in the country. Maybe she'll be in the Olympics one day. So once again, I want to tell your friends, we're going to invite you, if you found any of this of value, we want to invite you to like, subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell, because we have other great people coming up. And listen, like I always say, don't just climb your mountain, crush through it. It takes practice to be awesome. Well, we all want to kind of be a little bit like Doug. We want to work hard, but don't just climb the mountain, crush through it. I will see you guys next time.